Hello everyone, my name is Simon McIntosh-Smith and I'm a Professor of High Performance Computing at the University of Bristol. I also sit on the ExCALIBUR Steering Committee. So within ExCALIBUR, and ExCALIBUR is the UK's main programme to get the UK's science base ready for the next generation of supercomputers, that's exascale systems. And ExCALIBUR's a 5-year programme, spending about £46 million. We're a couple of years in, and it's focused mostly on software and algorithms and getting the UK's science codes ready for these next generation systems. Within ExCALIBUR, one part of the programme is called hardware and enabling software. And this is one area in particular where the UCL group and the RSDG in particular has contributed a lot, has been to this hardware and enabling software subprogram. And within that, what the aim is to make sure we've got access to all of the more interesting new emerging technologies that are coming out, which might prove to be really important for exascale systems. So within this hardware and enabling software subprogram, we're spending about £1 million a year over the 5 years to do a number of things. The first one is to build some testbed systems, and that's where we'll get access to all these different technologies, most of which might still be not yet in production form. They might be pre-commercial, they might be prototypes, and that's already well underway, and lots of those systems are now becoming available. And a second activity is on the benchmarking side, and we think benchmarking is going to be really important to ExCALIBUR. It's another area where the RSDG has really been contributing an awful lot. And within that activity, we're doing things like helping establish the UK community for benchmarking within ExCALIBUR. We're setting up benchmarking best practices. We're looking around the world, see the best ways everyone's doing this. We're coordinating the activities across all the different ExCALIBUR areas, all the different projects. We're engaging with all the different groups around the world that are doing this work. And we're even pulling together a framework of benchmarks to make it possible to do this in a very consistent way across all of the projects. It's something that in the USA they've done very well, and we want to emulate that and benefit from that approach here in the UK. So that's ExCALIBUR hardware enabling software, which the UCL team have been major contributors to. Something else that's been going on, and this is really where the bulk of the effort's going in ExCALIBUR, is into the design and development working groups, and from those we're expecting a number of big software projects to emerge shortly. So this is really where within ExCALIBUR we're looking to try and find which are the areas of science in the UK which are likely to be able to exploit exascale well in the early stages, right? So which is the sort of first wave of science that we should be looking for to run on these exascale systems. And there's a whole bunch of projects which are on this slide, which I won't go through all of them, but it includes things like meshing and materials and molecular modeling, continuum mechanics, system level engineering, particle hydrodynamics, AI techniques, lattice field theory, exahype, high energy physics, turbulent flow simulations. And then there's actually a whole series of projects to do with weather and climate, because the Met Office is a big partner in ExCALIBUR. And the other big partner in ExCALIBUR is the UK Atomic Energy Authority, which is where all the fusion research is done. And they have this project called Neptune, which is neutrals and plasma turbulence numerics for the exascale. And they have a whole bunch of projects as well. So loads of really exciting, really cool things going on all inside ExCALIBUR. It's really the frontier of the UK's exascale science. And the UCL team have been a really key part of that. For more information, there are a couple of different websites you can go to. excaliburportal.uk is the main one for the sort of top level description of ExCALIBUR. Then there's excalibur.ac.uk, which is where you can find all the hardware enabling software information, including details of all the different testbed systems which are already up and running and which ones are coming soon. And then there's a Met Office page for their side of the project as well. Anyway, hope you found that useful. The UCL team have been really at the core of what's going on here in ExCALIBUR and in these parts of ExCALIBUR in particular. And really grateful for their efforts. So thanks, everyone.
Good day. I'm Jonathan Tennyson. I'm Massey Professor of Physics in the Department of Physics and Astronomy at UCL. And my day job is I'm a quantum mechanic. I solve the equations of quantum mechanics for solving problems to which people want to know answers, whether that's astrophysics or the Earth's atmosphere or similar. Now, quantum mechanics actually was in its early days often called matrix mechanics, and it's a matrix mechanics formulation of quantum mechanics, which is terribly useful on today's high performance computers, and it's a method I use. Now, for my academic career, I have made great use of something called Moore's law, and Moore's law said that the speed of computers doubles roughly every 18 months. So I was able to build more and more advanced programs solving bigger and more challenging problems or getting more accurate solutions, simply in the confident knowledge that next year's computers would be better than this year's. However, Moore's law has stopped operating, and we're having to move to a new paradigm, so-called exascale computing. And the problem basically is that the number of chips you can cram in a certain area has run out. So we're having to go down a different route and use large numbers of parallel computers to solve problems, instead of actually just relying on the same computer architecture being faster every year. This requires a considerable amount of rethinking and reprogramming your projects, and in particular, matrix projects like the ones I'd like to solve don't necessarily map terribly well on large number of separate computers with relatively slow communication between them. We solve matrix equations. Very often what we're trying to do is solve a problem by constructing a large so-called Hamiltonian matrix. That matrix may be many hundreds of thousands. We would like to do 1,000,000 by 1,000,000, but so far that's not something we've not really achieved. And one of the challenges we have is that we want many solutions of this. Maybe not all of them, but we maybe want tens of thousands to even hundreds of thousands of solutions from these matrix problems. And to do this efficiently, there are obviously two parts of it. You need efficient matrix diagonalizers, and in an exascale world, you need matrix diagonalizers that are somehow going to be able to work across many computer nodes. And you also have to construct the Hamiltonian, or the matrix you're going to diagonalize, efficiently in such a way that you can get it all together with the elements in the right place and not burn a lot of computer time doing it. So we have actually split our transfer of our work into ExCALIBUR style computing into two parts. We had a project where we looked at matrix diagonalizers, and then we've worked with the RSE team at UCL to actually work on how we can build our Hamiltonian matrix much more efficiently, so that actually when we have access to full exascale computing, we will be able to transfer this and actually have yet another increase in the size of the problems we hope to solve.
My name is Andy Turner. I work for EPCC at the University of Edinburgh. The ExCALIBUR program is essentially the UK's exascale software development program. So developing software for future larger HPC systems. And this benefits, apart from the obvious benefit, which is, access to more computing power, allows research groups to do new and different and interesting research. One of the key things for ExCALIBUR is that it's bringing together people from lots of different domains, so it's bringing together RSEs, it's bringing together HPC experts, it's bringing together the researchers themselves, it's bringing together software engineers, and even vendors of HPC systems, to all work together to improve the software and to allow people to use these new capabilities that are coming in the future, and make sure that the software and the researchers and RSEs and everybody is ready to exploit it and to improve the types of research and the different things that can be done with HPC systems. So the UCL Research Software Development Group have been working with me on the benchmarking side of the ExCALIBUR program, and as part of that, they're primarily developing a new benchmark framework to allow people to deploy and test and measure the performance of different benchmarks across lots of different systems, because part of ExCALIBUR is that we'll be evaluating lots of different hardware and how that impacts different software across the program. So the UCL team have been building on work done by other groups to develop this benchmark framework software, and then to take the benchmarks that we get from the research groups involved in ExCALIBUR and build it into the framework in a way that can be reusable and ported easily to different types of HPC system. As well as that, they've been working very closely with all the different research groups by interviewing them one-to-one, understanding exactly what they're going to do as part of their software development projects within ExCALIBUR. what that means, looking for commonality across projects, where they differ, and what support the ExCALIBUR benchmark team, both from UCL and via myself, can provide back to the research software group, so that ExCALIBUR itself is as successful, I guess, and as useful as possible for the researchers themselves. So it's about having that activity that cuts across all the different scientific domains that are part of ExCALIBUR. Is one of the key activities that the UCL group are involved in here.